कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Shanath Prabhu, Pawan Prabhuji, everybody for chanting and leading our morning japa. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'll start with Mangalacharan. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so we'll continue with our prayer, which we are continuing with Shri Bhajagovindam Stotram by Shri Padadi Shankaracharya. We recited the first 10 verses last week, so this week we'll continue with verses 11 to 20, and then next week will be the conclusion of the last 13 or 14 verses remaining, I think, after that. Okay, so let's go from verse 11. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Ma Kuru Dhana Jana Yavana Garvam Harati Nimeshat Kala Sarvam. Is it audible? Okay. Dina Yau Sayam Pratah Shishiravasanto Punarayatah कालः क्रीडति गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चत् याशावायुः द्वादशमञ्जरी काभिरशेषः कथितो वैयाकरणशैषः उपदेशो भूद्विद्यानिपूणैः श्रीमच्छङ्करभगवच्चरणैः काते कान्ता धनगतचिन्ता वातुलकिं तव नास्ति नियन्ता त्रिजगति सज्जनसङ्गतिरैका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका जटिलो मुण्डी लुञ्चितकेशः काशयाम्बरबहुकृतवेषः पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढः उदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेषः अङ्गं गलितं फलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डं वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत् याशापिण्डम् अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभीक्षा स्तरुतव तलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत् याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गा सागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनमथवा दानं ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रह भोगत्यागः कस्य सुखमनुभूतिर्न karoti viraga yogarato va bhogarottarato va sangarato va sangavihina yasya brahmani रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःखं करणे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे भज गोविंदम स्तोत्रम की जय श्रीपाद आदि शंकराचार्य की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, we'll continue the translations from 11 to 20. Anybody would like to read them?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Srimati.
Do not boast of wealth, friends, and youth. Each one of these are destroyed within a minute. Free yourself from the illusion of the world of Maya and attain the timeless truth. Daylight and darkness, dusk and dawn, winter and springtime come and go. Time plays and life ebbs away, but the storm of desire never leaves. This bouquet of 12 verses was imparted to a grammarian by the all-knowing Shankara, adored as the Bhagavad Buddha. O mad man, why this engrossment in thoughts of wealth? Is there no one to guide you? There is only one thing in three worlds that can save you from the ocean of samsara. Get into that boat of satsang, knowledge of the truth, quickly. There are many who go with matted locks, many who have clean shaven heads, many whose hairs have been plucked out. Some are clothed in saffron, yet others in various colors, all just for a livelihood. Seeing truth revealed before them, still the foolish ones see it not. Strength has left the old man's body, his head has become bald, his gums toothless and leaning on crutches. Even then the attachment is strong and he clings firmly to fruitless hope. Behold, there lies the man who sits warming up his body with a fire in front and the sun at the back. At night he curls up the body to keep out of the cold. He eats his beggar's food from the bowl of his hand and sleeps beneath the tree. Still in his heart he is a wretched puppet at the hands of passions. One may go to the Ganga, observe fast, and give away riches in charity, yet devoid of jnana. Nothing can give mukti, even at the end of 100 births. Take your residence in a temple or below a tree. Wear the deer skin for the dress, and sleep with Mother Earth as your bed. Give up all attachments and renounce all comforts. Blessed with such vairagya, could any fail to be content? One may take delight in yoga or bhoga, may have attachment or detachment, but only he whose mind steadily delights in Brahman enjoys bliss, no one else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you, Mataji, Sri Mataji, for reading. Yes, sometimes when you read this, it sounds very heavy, right? And that is what the Guru is. Guru literally means heavy, and Guru's instructions are heavy. And Adi Shankaracharya here is teaching all the impersonalists, all the so-called grammarians who are trying to discover their own version of the Lord, the impersonalist Lord. But he says these heavy instructions, he's clearing away the wheel of Maya, ignorance, from their eyes and telling them what is the true process of attaining the Lord, which is the process of bhakti, Vajagovindam, which is attained through Sharanagati, as Radhakant Prabhu was sharing in the class a couple of days ago. And the beautiful prayer that you read yesterday from Sharanagati by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes, where we accept things that are favorable, we reject things that are unfavorable. So that's what Shankaracharya is teaching us here also. And yeah, we see he's telling that it is not by age. Even a young student, if they're sincere, they can they can attain self-realization even in a young age versus waiting until the old age. And we just wait for old age.
Can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Not yet. Hopefully this is audible now. Yeah. So
Yes, Prabhuji.
Krishna. This one. So I was saying, yeah, so we are not sure if we will be able to attain old age if we wait for old age, like Adi Shankaracharya is telling us here. Yesterday evening, we were reading from Science of Self-Realization. Prabhupada says the same thing there. Right? That, yeah, we wait until old age, but that old age may never come. Actually, Vaishnav Maharaj was also in India, was in US right now. He was sharing in one of the lectures from Gita, Bhagavad Gita, that we all have three ages three timestamps that we come with, just like products come with. They come with manufacturing date, expiry date, and then there's also one more date. Manufacturing date is our birth date, and expiry date is our death, of course, which we are not sure when it is going to come. But in between that, there is also like when you buy a product, there's also use before buy or best before buy, right? You have to use that product before it becomes bad. Like milk, gallon of milk says use before this date, bread use before this date. Similarly, this body also we have to use in the service of the Lord before we get to the old age. So old age is our kind of the threshold. So it's better to do bhakti before we get to old age, not after we get to old age. Because when we get to old age, then like Adi Shankaracharya says here, strength will go, head has become bald, gums become toothless, we are leaning on crutches, all points of our body are paining. At that point, how will we be able to do bhakti? So this is the age. And that's what Prabhupada is teaching to his young disciples in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So let's continue. I think you read until this yesterday. Very nice. Prabhupada has reached India, and he's reached actually his hometown, Calcutta. And you see how his sister's family is so nicely welcoming him, offering him all kinds of respect. And Prabhupada is lecturing there. Still his heart, like he says, India has become kind of his material home because he has family relationships, but his spiritual home is in the US because that's where his heart is. And but we see what Prabhupada created, this wonderful movement now. Like we have devotees traveling from India, all over India. And when they came here, like Radhakant Prabhu, he was sharing, he came here for the first time to US, and he was so fascinated and attracted by what Srila Prabhupada has created, this wonderful movement, and all over the world now, of course. But yeah, he was sharing the reverse thought, right? When Prabhupada went back to India first time, after that he has come back, he came first time to US from India, and he was sharing what a wonderful movement Prabhupada has created, and we are all part of this wonderful family. So even though we may have our own material families, those seem tiny and small as compared to this large family that Srila Prabhupada has given us all over the world. So very nice. So let's continue from this chapter 28. One evening, as Prabhupada spoke, my only qualification is that I have unflinching faith in my spiritual master. A large firecracker exploded right outside the door. The audience smiled tolerantly. Yes, Prabhupada said, taking the explosion as confirmation of his words. It is glorious. One night Prabhupada explained that according to Bhagavad Gita, demigod worshippers are less intelligent. People worship Kali for material rewards, he said. But since all material things are temporary, such worship is inferior to the worship of Krishna. Kali is not able to grant the worshipper liberation from birth and death. Which is better? Achyutananda asked. The worship of the Christians and Jews, which is mostly impersonal, or the worship of the non-absolute by the worshippers of Kali? Worship of Kali is better, Prabhupada said, because the worshippers are in the Vedic system. They are more likely to bow down to Radha Krishna or chant Hare Krishna than a Christian or Jew. There is a chance that they will become Krishna devotees in the future. if they lose their material attachments. Prabhupada regularly invited his godbrothers and the disciples to join him in America. Sometimes he seemed to do it just to get them at least to think more of preaching. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had once chided that the Gaudiya Math ashram was no more than a giant mess, the members going out each day and collecting enough alms so that they could eat together, but with no dynamic vision for preaching. So Prabhupada's frequent invitations, "You should go to America, come back with me," would stir them, even if they couldn't actually come. On visiting the ashram of Bhakti Saranga Goswami, Prabhupada saw that the audience consisted almost entirely of old widows. But he spoke as usual. One day, Prabhupada's godbrother, Haridas Swami, came by. He was heavy-set and loud, and he spoke very rapidly. "Very happy to see you coming here from America. This is wonderful. Krishna is the summum bonum, the cause of all causes. I want you to come to my temple." When Haridas Maharaj went into a separate room, Prabhupada turned to Achyutananda. "He wants us to go to his temple, but to go there, I will have to go onto a rickshaw, and then onto a tram car, and then onto a train, and then another rickshaw." Aware of Prabhupada's weak condition, Achyutananda began shaking his head negatively. When Haridas Maharaj returned, Achyutananda said that Swamiji couldn't come to his matha. "Who are you?" Haridas Maharaj said angrily. "You are just a brahmachari. You should risk your life." Achyutananda replied, "I will risk my life, but I can't risk my spiritual master's life." Haridas Maharaj left insulted. "Don't worry," Prabhupada said. "He is just very talkative." Prabhupada paid a visit to BP Keshav Maharaj, the godbrother who had awarded him the sannyas order in 1959. Prabhupada sat on the floor and spoke in Bengali to his godbrother, who was very old and apparently on his deathbed. Prabhupada had Achyutananda sing for Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Maharaj requested Prabhupada to visit his ashram, Devananda Mutt in Navadvip. Srila Prabhupada had wanted to return to the US as a permanent resident, but his students in America hadn't been able to get the necessary clearance from the US Immigration Department. The devotees in Boston had gotten in touch with a few Harvard Indology professors, but had obtained no signed statements about Prabhupada's importance. All the ISKCON centers had written formal letters inviting A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and had presented copies to the US Immigration Office. But unless the devotees could produce something more impressive, like a government recommendation or a university's offer for him to join their faculty, Prabhupada could not become a US resident. On October 13, Prabhupada wrote to his disciples in Montreal, "I am very anxious to go to Montreal. Therefore, you must try your best to get my immigration visa on the basis of my being an authorized Vaishnava minister based on Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita." Rather than wait indefinitely for permanent residency, Prabhupada decided to apply for a visitor's visa. He went with Achyutananda to the US consulate on Harrington Road. There, in the middle of Calcutta, they entered a small piece of America with everything shiny, new, and efficient: air conditioners, stainless steel water coolers, electric security doors, US Marines, and American flags. Sitting before the secretary of the consulate, Prabhupada looked small and humble. "I want a visa to see my students in America," he said softly. "Do you have any letters?" the secretary asked. Achyutananda handed over the letters from the temples. The secretary reviewed them and quickly gave Prabhupada a 4-month visa. While leaving the building, Prabhupada remarked, "I will just get anything, and then it can be extended." On October 19, Prabhupada wrote Hayagriva regarding his imminent return. "I am already preparing for returning to the USA, and I have obtained a visitor's visa the day before yesterday. Most probably, I shall take the first chance to return to the USA upon my return from Navadvip." And on October 22nd, he wrote to Umapati, "You will be glad to know that I have already secured a visitor's visa to your country and have asked my travel agent to book my seat on the earliest possible date. I think I shall be in your midst by the middle of November." On October 24th, Prabhupada traveled with Achyutananda and Ramanuja to Navadvip. Although the local train took 4 hours, the lush Bengal countryside gradually revealed its heavenly beauty, and Prabhupada's health seemed to improve just from the pleasant journey. By the time they arrived at Navadvip, Achyutananda and Ramanuja were also feeling relief from the rigors of Calcutta. For the first time in weeks, they could open their eyes without blinking through drops of perspiration. A large kirtan party of brahmacharis, mostly members of Keshav Maharaj's Devananda Gaudiya Mutt, met Srila Prabhupada at the Navadvip train station. The brahmacharis were meticulously neat, with their robes all dyed the same shade of saffron, their Vaishnav tilak markings bold and distinct, their heads smoothly shaved, their shikhas precise. They offered Prabhupada and his party aromatic garlands made from flowers resembling lotuses and gathered around Srila Prabhupada with worshipful enthusiasm. Also present were a few of Sridhar Maharaj's disciples, waiting with rickshaws to take Prabhupada and his disciples to their guru's ashram. Although between the two groups there was an unspoken competition for Prabhupada's presence, he had previously agreed to go to Sridhar Maharaj's place. He promised the members of Devananda Mutt that he would visit them next. Soon after leaving the station, the rickshaws turned onto a road lined with lush tropical vegetation, banana trees, tall bamboos, exotic blossoming flowers. Prabhupada saw some villagers working near their straw and mud huts, and in the distance, the spire of Sridhar Maharaj's temple. A Kirtan party greeted Prabhupada at the outer gates of Sridhar Maharaj's ashram, chanting Hare Krishna and playing kartals and clay mridangas. Prabhupada entered the temple, offered obeisances before the deities of Radha and Krishna, and then went to see his godbrother. Sridhar Maharaj was very old, his sight failing, his joints stiff with arthritis. He stayed mostly in his room or sometimes on his veranda and moved only with slow, rickety motions. He was an austere and kindly Vaishnava and smiled heartily on seeing Prabhupada and his disciples. In fluent English, he began praising Prabhupada's preaching in America, repeatedly using Prabhupada's phrase Krishna consciousness. Swamiji's work, he said, was the fulfillment of Lord Chaitanya's prophecy that Krishna consciousness would one day spread all over the world. He laughed and smiled and praised the Krishna consciousness movement with no trace of jealousy. So you appreciate this phrase, Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada smiled. Yes, Sridhar Maharaj replied, and the disciples of Swami Maharaj also. And he turned towards Achyutananda and Ramanuja. With very little effort, your preaching will go far. The boys were astonished. This was really something to write home about. Sitting on the roof of a temple in this jungle paradise with old Sridhar Maharaj, appreciating Swamiji's work as the greatest work on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, and Swamiji sitting relaxed, grinning, and making humble replies. It was the high point of the trip. My dear Satswarupa, please accept my blessings. I have already duly received the invitation from Harvard University. It is understood that they are scheduling me for 20th November between 6 and 10 p.m. I can start immediately on the strength of my visitor's visa, but I'm awaiting for Mukunda's reply for his trying for my permanent visa. Yesterday, we have all come to Navdeep. This place is another establishment of one of my godbrothers. It is very nice and extensive place, and my godbrother, V.R. Sridhar Maharaj, has spared one entire nice house for our stay. He has also agreed to cooperate with our society. We shall observe his birthday ceremony tomorrow, and the brahmacharis shall learn how to celebrate the spiritual master's birthday. Vyasa Puja Day. The observance of V.R. Sridhar Maharaj's birthday was October 27. His disciples had erected a pandal on the temple road, and about 100 people attended. Sridhar Maharaj sat on his Vyasasana, and Prabhupada and other sannyasis, all wearing flower garlands, sat in chairs next to Sridhar Maharaj. Prabhupada spoke in Bengali. Some of Sridhar Maharaj's disciples, inspired by Prabhupada's preaching about the glories of spreading Krishna consciousness in the West, delivered speeches in English as Vyas Puja homages to their spiritual master. Sridhar Maharaj, also speaking in English, gave a very scientific lecture on Krishna consciousness and the senses. Afterwards, Prabhupada told his disciples, he has very high realizations, but he is keeping them to himself. Every morning before dawn, Sridhar Maharaj sent out a party of brahmacharis to perform kirtan in the villages. On Prabhupada's request, Achyutananda and Ramanuja joined them, leaving before sunrise and returning at dusk. Although Prabhupada and Sridhar Maharaj usually remained at the temple, one day they got into a rickshaw and accompanied the chanting party through the streets of Navadvip. The festival at the Devananda Mutt was a big affair. In contrast to Bhakti Saranga Goswami's ashram in Calcutta, where only widows had attended, B.P. Keshav Maharaj Devananda Mutt had about 200 brahmacharis and 20 sannyasis. Some of the brahmacharis, however, were not full-time but were attending schools outside. So the ashram's atmosphere was a little like that of a social club. But when the kirtan and the circumambulation of the temple began, 700 people took part. The impeccably dressed sannyasis, whose every piece of saffron cloth, including their cloth-wrapped dandas, was dyed exactly the same shade, danced back and forth before the deities. A dozen sannyasis danced in a group, and their dandas moving together, dipping and rising, forward and back, to the delight of the brahmacharis. Prabhupada sat on a dais with other dignitaries and spoke to the festival audience. Achyutananda, on Prabhupada's request, spoke a few words in Bengali, bringing laughs and applause. Sridhar Maharaj spoke gravely in Bengali. A sannyasi from Devananda Mutt spoke for their absent leader, B.P. Keshav Maharaj, proclaimed in impassioned tones that although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement had been predicted to spread throughout the world, No one had known how it could be possible. Now, thanks to the work of Bhaktivedanta Swami, it was happening. After a large feast in the evening, Prabhupada's party returned to Sridhar Maharaj's ashram. Sridhar Maharaj intimated to Prabhupada that the Devananda Mutt emphasized quantity, whereas his own ashram emphasized quality. Curious as to what this meant, Achyutananda wanted to ask Prabhupada, but the time didn't seem appropriate. After 9 days in Navadvip, Prabhupada was ready to return to Calcutta and prepare for his trip back to the United States. He and his two disciples took rickshaws to Navadvip and caught a morning train to Calcutta. On the train, Achyutananda timidly put forward the question that had been on his mind. Swamiji, what did you and Sridhar Maharaj discuss? Oh, many, many things, Prabhupada replied. But if I were to tell you now, you would faint. After a silence, Prabhupada added, Still, I offered him to be president of our society. I knew he would not accept. He is keeping things within him. Anyway, this is all beyond you. Do not have any ill feelings towards any of my god brothers. They are all great souls. There are just some differences on preaching and spreading. Even in your mind, do not feel any ill will towards them. At the same time, do not mix very thickly with them. Achyutananda suggested, maybe if these two sannyasis had each other's qualities combined. Ah, yes, Prabhupada said, now you have understood me. Srila Prabhupada's intention coming to Calcutta was simply to prepare to leave for America. He had his visitor's visa ready, but he thought if he stayed in India a little longer in San Francisco, Mukunda might be able to secure permanent American residency for him. He went to his sister's house to spend his last days in Calcutta there. But after only a few days, he felt that the Radha Govinda deity, the deity he had worshipped in his childhood, was calling him. When Prabhupada had been no more than an infant, his servant used to take him and his cousin Subuddhi Malik on a perambulator, wheel them into the temple courtyard and take them before the altar of Radha Govinda. And as soon as Prabhupada could walk, his father would hold his hand and take him before the deity every day. Sometimes Prabhupada would go alone and stand for hours gazing upon Radha and Krishna, who appeared very beautiful to him with their slanted eyes and fine dress and ornaments. It had been for the pleasure of Radha Govinda that as a child, beginning at the age of 5, he had performed his miniature Rath Yatra festival. Hare Krishna. Okay, I think we'll pause here. It's wonderful. Prabhupada is again with all these trips and tours to all the dhams. And Prabhupada is teaching his young disciples the mood of what should be the mood when you visit the dhams, right? And yes, all these things also now, even now, like it was reminding me as I was speaking, and we attend Vyas Puja celebrations or Tirobhav Divas of all the different disciples of Srila Prabhupada. It just brings that feeling of unity, like Prabhupada is teaching here. And that, it's just recently when we were at Sadhu Sangha and we attended Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disappearance and the Memorial Day Festival. Yeah, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who were there glorifying Bhakti Charu Maharaj's glorious contributions to the movement, and even some fun moments, that'll like Radhanath Swami Maharaj remembering how they went on that ship voyage that Bhakti Charu Maharaj wanted them to do kirtan on the boat, on the ship, and and just around that time they had the news of Titanic sinking. So it was little funny incident, but also little grave. Yet sharing all those realizations, reflections that they were sharing about their god brother, sweet god brother, and all his contributions. So those are such wonderful pastimes that we get to hear, which we otherwise sometimes very hard, which we'll not be able to read in any of the books. But the whole ceremony, as simple as it was, yet as grand it was spiritually. So these kind of festivals, when we attend, it just purifies our heart and brings so much more deeper respect for what Srila Prabhupada actually cultivated in his disciples, that there is no ill will, there is just pure love. And that is what I think, which at least I lack. And that is the mood that we should try to develop from these wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada. As we see here, Achyutananda and Ramanuja Prabhu, I'm sure those were kind of the learnings that they got when they visited Sridhar Maharaj and Keshav Maharaj ashram in Navadvip, and all the wonderful exchanges that Prabhupada had with his dear God brothers, even though there were some differences in opinion and preaching, yet in the core of their heart, Prabhupada said, they are sincere and they're pure souls. So that is wonderful mood of pure devotee. Okay, any other thoughts, reflections on today's reading?
Hare Krishna, everyone. I was reflecting on the point when Prabhupada was telling to Achyutananda to not have ill feelings towards any of them. I was just discussing the same point yesterday. Me and Vidhi were reading Srimad Bhagavatam Tales by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, Dhruva story. And it was mentioned in the story that Suniti told Dhruva not to have any ill feelings towards Suruchi or, her son or towards the king, because a true devotee or a Vaishnava would feel it is his or her own karma from the past years which is bringing anything which is not desirable by them. So not to have any ill feeling towards any of the living entities, especially towards the devotees, was again brought here by Prabhupada to Achyutananda Prabhu. So I was just reflecting on that point, not to have any ill feelings. Just wanted to share that, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing. Yes. And now as we see, when Prabhupada is he's writing to all his disciples all over the world, right? And was in California, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Nandarani Mataji and her husband has started there. Satsvarupa Maharaj, who wrote this wonderful biography of Srila Prabhupada, he started a center in Boston and now in Montreal, right? It's all over. So as the as the growth of the movement was happening, these were things that will happen. There'll be some difference of opinion. Even when we were reading a few weeks ago, disciples in California were thinking something else, because they wanted to start a center there, and whether devotees in New York will sponsor or not sponsor, so those kind of things will eventually are bound to happen. It's natural, it is human. But again, through these, when we read these wonderful pastimes, then we understand, right? So like Prabhupada says, it doesn't matter whether we will reach whether we reach love of God in this lifetime or not. At least we should know what is the goal of life. The goal of life is to attain pure love of Godhead, right? Reach Golok Vrindavan. Whether we're able to fulfill that or not, right? We should at least have that goal, and we should know what the path is, and we should know what to do and what not to do. Like we said, like we read from the Sharanagati prayers, right? We should know, we should have all knowledge, and then we should try to sincerely follow. Whether we reach or not, that is the mercy of the Guru Parampara, of the Lord. At least we should know what is the goal, what is the process, what is the step, and we should follow sincerely. Then, by the mercy, of course, we cannot boast that by my sadhana things will happen. Our sadhana is a kriya. Like we said, kriya we have to do. That is our duty. Like Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, you have to do your karma, but don't expect the fruits of the results. Right? That is in the hand of the Lord and the hand of our acharyas. So similarly, yeah, we should know everything and we should do our duty. And when we do our kriya, then we'll get the prapti, which is the kripa of the acharyas, of the Lord. But yeah, it's very easy said than done. It requires a lot of enthusiasm, determinations, and patience to follow those instructions. Okay, Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anybody else would like to share anything? Adi Guru Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Love to hear from you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yes, wonderful reading, Prabhu. Wonderful reading. It is such an important thing to associate with devotees, like Prabhupada disciples who were associating with brahmacharis of other mutt, and the points that are raised that are so nice that we learn from other devotees so much. How were they dressing up? How were they doing things? And to learn from the other devotees what is best. And Achyunanda Prabhu said that if only the two sannyasis has the best qualities combined, points like this subtly tell us that we should, like a honeybee, always look at the good qualities of other devotees and try to imbibe those good qualities, and not look at anything bad. So, wonderful reading, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
I think it's all become we can all become that flower so that you can get the honey out of, or the honey can be extracted out of us versus becoming thorns, right? Like you said, yeah, become a flower so that the bees that are surrounding the lotus feet of the Lord, when we sing the Brahmar Geet, those bees hopefully can come and get the nectar out of us. That should be our goal, to become a flower versus becoming a thorn. Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that nice reflection. Okay, anything else from anybody? Shriya Mataji, I think we have missed you for a few days. Are you there, Shriya Mataji? You're on mute if you're speaking. Okay, maybe you stepped away. All right. Okay, it's 6:37, so maybe we'll conclude here for today. Thank you for your kind association as always. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। जगद्गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.